This is now going to be an elaboration of our discussion of Pluta Purgruhya Achinityam. Pluta Purgruhya Achinityam. I divided it because it would be a little bit unwieldy to do these all together, I think. So last time I quickly went through our initial sutras. Vrittirādaya chadengurha koguna vritti holonantaraha samyogaha muknasika vachinonunasakaha tulyasya prayatnam savarnam rilavarnayormita savarnyam vacham nachalau. And 1111, pretty much the beginning of Ashtadhyayi, idu de dvivachanam pragrihyam. Idu de dvivachanam pragrihyam. So, it ut et dvivachanam pragrihyam. It ut et are dirga I, dirga U, and dirga A, thanks to taparastat kalasya. When t precedes or follows a vowel, it refers to that length alone. Taparastat kalasya. So, it ut et in the dvivachana dual get the name pragrihya. So here's an example. Hari etau Vishnu imau Gange amu. Hari etau Vishnu imau Gange amu. So these will be natural nityam, always. Next one is a tiny bit trickier. 1112. Adasomat. Adasaha, pertaining to adas. This is the sound adas, which represents the entire constellation of the pronoun adas. And that's how we can have pertaining to adas. And we can have an adas ending with implied yena vitistarantasya, because the adjective pertains to the one that ends with it. So ami ishaha, that's pratama bahuvachana. This is plural. Yes, plural, bahuvachana. So it would not be covered by idu de dvivachana puragurhyam. But it is, ami is pertains to adas, and it does end in followed by e. So ami ishaha, and similarly amu, asate, both are prakrtya and pragrihya and remain as they are forever. There is no example of may. The next example of pragrihya, and obviously pragrihya comes as anuvritti throughout these consecutive sutras. The next example is she, 1113, she, which is Vedic A. We've seen this before. The sh is dropped, and so what we're talking about is Vedic A, and the example that's given is Asme Indra Brihaspati. Asme Indra Brihaspati. So she is never in ordinary Sanskrit, and just an example of a Vedic Sandhi exception. 1114, Nipate Kajanang. Now this is a bigger one with its own set of intricacies, which we discussed it in detail when we covered this sutra some time ago. Nipate Kajanang. a nipata, a single letter or single vowel nipata is pragrihya anang, except for ang. So the trick of this is to know what ang is. And again, we went into that in detail. Ang has 5 potential meanings, and you don't have to figure those out because other people have. But so as pertaining to the pragrihya, we have I indraha. I indraha. I is a single-lettered nipata, so it gets the name pragrihya, and by Pluta pragrihya achinityam, it remains as it is always, nityam. So I indraha will always and forever be I indraha. U umeshaha. U umeshaha. Similarly, U is a single-lettered nipata, which is not ang. And it will be pragrihya, and umeshaha will stay as they are forever. Now, here are some examples of, so ang is a particular presentation of dirgha a, ang. So here are some examples of a which are not ang and therefore are pragrihya. They are not ang, so they are pragrihya by nipate kajanang. So a evam kilasit. A evam kilasit. Well, there once was. This expresses regret, which is not one of the characteristics of ang. A evam kilasit. Also, here is one that is ang, so it's not pragrihya. A ushnam. A ushnam. So ushnam hot. A is a diminutive nipata, meaning, so you put them together and you get cool or lukewarm. But since it is ang, a plus ushnam do not stay as they are forever. They become oshnam. Other examples are coming and going, agam, the limit, inceptive, and whatever, the starting and finishing or ending at a particular place. We have ajanmanaha, adyayanat. Those are other examples of which are ang, and again, there's a whole video discussing this interesting subspecies of dirgha a that is called ang in the grammar. Now we have a few more of these, which I think are worth reviewing because we took it on faith that these mattered, and now we see why. And since it adds to our sense of being knowledgeable about the grammar and the language. So here we go. 1115, ot. Now, ot is also yenavitistadantasya. It's an adjective, so it stands for the one which ends with it. So it is, meaning is ot antaha nipata, which means it's an ot ending nipata. And an example is, and t is dropped, and so we have aho ishaha, and this o is ot. We have to take that as given, and therefore it's pragrihya, so it will always remain as it is naturally. Another one that's a little more intricate but interesting, 1116, Sambhutau shakalyasye tavanarshe. Sambhutau shakalyasye tavanarshe. So, anuvrti here, we have Sambhutau ot Shakalyasye itaupare anarshe. So, ot, sambhuti, that is the vocative, we call it vocative, Vishnu iti, or, and so in ot, when it is used in the vocative and is followed by iti, except in the Veda, it is sambhutao shakalyasya, in Shakalya's opinion, which means optionally. So if we have Vishnu iti, so we have O ending Vishnu followed by iti, not in the Veda, so that is optionally pragrihya. So Vishnu iti can be Vishnu iti or Vishnaviti. Now, in this case, the exception for the Veda is that it is mandatory in the Veda, not that the optionality is in the Veda. So arshe means anarshe is not in the Veda. So an example is etaga brahma bandhaviti abravit, or brahma bandha viti vitya abravit. It's not an option in the Veda. Unyaha 1117 uiti or viti. So unyaha, u plus et, taking from the previous sutra, uiti can either be uiti pragrihya or viti. Unya, the dirgha nasally pronounced u, has three options then: uiti, viti, or iti. Uiti, viti, iti. So, and one more, idu tau cha saptamyate. Idu tau cha saptamyate. This is another one that's only in the Veda. When it, ut, au are used in the sense of saptami, in place of the characteristic endings, they also are pragrihya. So Gauri Atishtataha, which is for saptami Gauriyam. So Gauri dirgha is being used instead of the usual saptami ending, which would give Gauriyam, and Tanu iti for Tanvam. Again, saptami is in place of saptami. And I think that's just an interesting little, I guess you could say, Vedic wrinkle. So there we go. We have now reunited Idu Taucha Saptamyate and all of the other Pragrihya sutras with Pluta Pragrihya Achinityam appearing in many hundreds of sutras later for a very significant function.